This time on episode 273 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we talk Runaways Season 1, Episode 4, 15. We talk weekly Marvel news, and we talk your feedback.
I'm Chris Farrell from the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast, a wacky weekend morning show, part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out right now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and the opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other awesome geeky shows over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
You have been granted clearance by Director Alfonso Mack Mackenzie. Stand by for a S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. The show is recorded on Sunday, March 10th, 2019, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast worldwide via www.geeks.live. Come on and join our live chat as we record. Ladies, happy National Mario Day.
It's-a me! If you're wondering why it's National Mario Day, when you write March 10th, MAR10,
So it's like Pi Day, but for Mario.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all I saw was the Mario Brother graphic, and I was thinking it had something to do with Mario Brothers, but it's literally Mario.
Yeah. So today is the day we celebrate Mario Brothers. Did either of y'all watch that movie back in the day? It was like the first video game movie.
No.
The Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes.
I used to love that movie. It's so terrible. It is so terrible.
Well, I now know that if I want to waste some time, I can go ahead and waste it. Or if I don't want to waste time, I will not watch it. So thank you very much, ladies, for giving me the heads up there.
No problem.
All right, let's move on with the show. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., now in the 42nd hiatus week following the season 5 finale, the multiple Marvel television series, and the Marvel cinematic and comic book universes in general.
Because of being able to crack a file before you finish your latte.
If you would like to talk to us about being able to crack files and whatever drinks you're drinking, you can find us at our website, legendsofshield.com.
You can leave us a voicemail at 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871.
You can find us on Facebook at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
You can find us on Twitter at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You can see us talking about cracking open files with a cold one on YouTube at youtube.com/GonnaGeek.
If you have an Amazon device, you can tell your Amazon device to enable Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. skill.
You can join our Discord server chat at GonnaGeek.com/Discord.
And remember, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the GonnaGeek.com network.
Again, I just want to give the announcement that we will not be talking about Captain Marvel until Tuesday, the 19th of March at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That is because it is the one and only day in March the four of us can get together to talk about Captain Marvel. And we're going to stay spoiler-free until we go ahead and podcast on Captain Marvel. But I will say that I saw the movie this past weekend. Lauren saw the movie this past weekend. We both liked it. So if you're using us as a barometer, go see the movie. It was fun for us. In the meantime, we're going to move on into the Runaways, or as I said before, Runaways. We watched Runaways 15, which is season 1, episode 4. It aired on Hulu, November 28th, 2017. Lauren, who directed this episode of Runaways?
This episode was directed by Ramsey Nickell. who only has 2 directing credits starting in 2017, 1 episode of American Crime and 2 episodes of Runaways, but has 48 cinematographer credits starting in 1996. And if you go out and check out his cinematographer credits, the director of photography credits on IMDb, there's some really impressive stuff that I guarantee you have seen, from music videos to TV shows. Yeah, just very, very impressive. And actually also the director of photography for 1 episode of Runaways.
Nice. Michelle, who wrote this episode?
This episode was written by Tamara Becher, 9 writing credits starting in 2008, including 1 Warehouse 13, 6 Covert Affairs, 2 Iron Fist, 1 Runaways, 1 Daredevil, and 1 Doom Patrol. And Runaways is based on the Marvel Comics by Brian K. Vaughan and Adrian Alphona.
We often start talking about the episode in terms of the theme for the episode, and we relate the theme oftentimes to the title because it's just a nice theme title sort of collaboration. In this case, it is 15. Lauren, what do you got for me? What is the theme for the episode based on the title 15?
I was thinking about this the whole time, and the closest thing I could think of was their age? ?
Well, not
I might
all
have
of them,
missed something.
because
Yeah, Molly's younger.
yeah,
And I don't know. I might have missed something. The whole time through, that's all I could think of. Then again, I did only get a few hours of sleep last night because I really hate the time change. And insomnia is terrible.
true and true. Michelle, what do you got for us?
It's mentioned once, and I didn't get it until I watched it again. They've been taking Runaways for 15 years.
Oh.
When they cracked the file open in the coffee shop, they realized this has been going on for 15 years.
Yes, 15 Runaways, 15 people have lost their lives. They start piling up all these files, person after person. Nobody's reported them. Nobody cares because they're runaways. And it is sad when they start putting those pieces back together. And it's sad because they realize that their parents have done all this. So it's really shocking, both revelations. So subtle on the 15, but really huge, big hitting to these kids about what has happened and who's been involved.
Yeah, I completely missed that. Very good catch, Michelle.
Indeed. So we have different things happening this episode, which is interesting. Michelle, where do you want to start?
With Victor.
Oh, man.
First, he's hallucinating that he's kidnapped a woman in a van, and he's actually so convinced he actually calls an emergency meeting. We find out that it was just a hallucination, and even he's shocked that it was just an hallucination. And then Tina has him and Robert go out to find someone else, and they go out in the middle of the day in a white van. This is so stereotypical bad guy. And they're like, let's just whack this guy over the head in front of witnesses. Yeah, these are like the worst criminals.
There is so much you can say about class and privilege in this episode in particular. First of all, there's a concept known as the less dead that they really kind of go into. You see Jeffrey Wilder being really upset when they mention these people's lives didn't matter. This is one of the reasons why with serial killers, when they go after, like in the case of John Wayne Gacy, gay boys, or in the case of the Grim Sleeper, Black women and sex workers, or in the case of, there's so many hitchhikers that have gone missing. Right here, I live along a corridor that it's called like the Highway of Death with the Texas killing fields, because so many women and sex workers and just people go missing constantly and show up dead or just disappear completely. and it's never looked into, or it's just dropped completely because, well, whatever. They knew the risks, or, oh, well, no one's going to miss them. And you see this compared to things like Natalie Holloway or JonBenet Ramsey. It's missing rich white girl syndrome, where the value of one life is seen as having more in the eyes of the media because they can get so much more play out of it. So these people are kidnapping. You see the people they're kidnapping. It's Latina girls. It's a black boy. It's these runaways. It's sex workers. It's a homeless man. People who are probably mentally ill or poor or immigrants. And they know they're going to get away with it because A, they're rich, and B, they have money, and they know the people they're missing are never going to be missed. Or if they're going to be missed, people aren't going to pay attention to their families because they're poor. They're whatever. They can't report it. They can't afford to bring it to the media or have people follow up on it for years and years. And when they actually go, again, these incompetent criminal jerks go and try to grab a guy in the middle of broad daylight. You see things like this with some serial killers, where when they get overly confident and they start doing stuff like this, they'll try to grab someone in the middle of the public because they're like, oh, we're just not going to be seen. Who's going to do anything to us? And I was so surprised that they actually got brought into the police office instead of the homeless guy being arrested for threatening them, because that's usually how this goes.
It does, especially you would feel like in their area that they are Brentwood, very posh area, and they're well-to-do individuals, both of them, and all of a sudden they get found in this back alley with a lot of homeless. Now, I'm thinking they're down towards LA, but the detective friend would have to be in Brentwood area, so I'm a little bit confused as that, but we'll just gloss over all of that. Yes, terrible thing. And this is not the only thing that happens to Victor in this particular episode. He then goes home and finds his son messing around with his gauntlets, or whatever they are going to be called, and then decides to help him with the development of them. And nothing good is going to come out of that either, because the dad is seeing, oh, this is a product that I can make. You can tell in his eyes. He's like, wow, you have the creative vision. I can use this. And the son is just like, oh, dad's paying attention to me. This is all great. And we know where this is headed. I'm not.
And Chase is so scared of Victor when he first shows up. It's heartbreaking. He's so scared of his dad.
It is. And the whole thing about his invention being ripped from him that's pissing me off. This entire, if you think of in terms of these kids versus the parents, this series is going to piss you off because it is happening every single episode, including like Caroline. She is told of what's going on with her mom, what's happened with her mom over the phone, right? They call her and tell her what's going on. And she's looking at her mom and her dad and going, oh my gosh, I can't, you could just see that she doesn't know how to handle things that are going on. And it's not just those two, it's every single one of them have an issue, including the kidnapping of Alex at the end. Now, I'm pretty sure I think what's going on. I know that Michelle knows what's going on because she's seen this. Lauren, what do you think's going on here?
With Carolina?
With Alex. Let's start with Alex.
With Alex. Okay. Well, he goes into Alex is on the fence as to whether or not their parents really killed Destiny or not. We see the kids split into our parents are murderers and our parents didn't kill anyone. Our parents couldn't have killed anyone camps. And Alex is sort of drifting in between these two camps. But he goes into his dad's office, is messing around, and finds the little secret compartment in his desk that has a bunch of money in bills possibly non-sequential would be my guess. A passport, a bunch of passports is my guess, probably for the family, and a gun. And Alex takes the gun because he needs to feel safe.
And then he goes and backs up Nico, not because he believes in what Nico's doing, but because he believes Nico shouldn't have to go through it alone. So that's being a good friend there, I would think, regardless of his romantic intentions or not. I thought that was nice. And then it was good that he was there because they find out that their parents are in cahoots with this detective. So they know they can't trust the police. And as a kid, this would just skyrocket to me like, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. I don't know who we can trust.
There's so much in this episode about betrayal, like realizing you can't trust authority and that just coming crumbling down. Not only not trusting the police and not only realizing you can't trust your parents, like Kurt and Molly catch their parents lying to them, but with Carolina especially. And it's sort of a double punch for her because she wants to trust her mom. She wants to trust her parents. She's very close to her mom. And her mom is a figure for her religion. She's deeply religious. She keeps saying, the more people would disparage my faith, the more I believe in it. And there's a quote, it's in the movie The Crow, but it's actually from William Makepeace Thackeray. Mother is the name for God in the lips and hearts of little children. And that's what I kept thinking of watching her with her mom and trying to reconcile this. And then with every little chip at this, that keeps being undermined. So it's once this all crumbles, it's not only her faith in her parents that's going to be gone, it's her faith in her religion. It's something that she's built her entire life, her entire personality around. She's the God girl at school. Who is she if that's taken away?
And there are chips that are being thrown into her visage, even at school, because of what's happened with the party. We'll get to that later. I'm going to go back to Alex for a second and just throw my theory on the table, because I have not seen beyond this episode. I know this series has been out since 2017, but I'm thinking that Darius has kidnapped Alex, and that is who has taken him. Remember, Darius is the gang leader that remained in LA that Jeffrey's been sparring back and forth with. And Jeffrey said, you come after me, I'm going to come after your mom and that chicken. So Darius turns around, uses the information in the phone, which they've cloned, and goes after Alex. So I think that's what's happened there. So Lauren, do you have anything to say about that theory?
I think that's a pretty fair guess.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking that's what's going to happen. Of course, Michelle knows what's going on, so I'm not going to ask her what's going on with that. Let's get back to Catherine there. And not only with Catherine, she has the moment of sparkly, but we see her mom also has a sparkly moment. Michelle,
You mean Carolina?
Yes. Michelle, what's going on here? What can you tell us?
Michelle, what the hell was up with that?
Okay. Well, I don't want to get too spoilery, but okay. Well, so here we go. In the credits, we said someone was named Jonah. I'm just going to reveal that is Jonah.
Yep.
Okay. The guy in the 2001 room, that is Jonah.
Is Jonah her dad?
Whose dad? Leslie's?
Yeah, Leslie. Is Jonah Leslie's dad?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Leslie's dad was actually the founder of the church.
Right. I had been assuming that Leslie's dad was the guy. Oh, wow. This is big for me.
No, because the way the show, I know, right? Because the way the show makes it look is that's Leslie's dad, which made that scene super gross.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it did.
But,
and thank you for clarifying that for me, because that was like, oh.
SP can sleep a little easier now.
It has to do with Jonah needing energy. That is what the pods are about. That's what that moment was. He said, I needed to be warm. he's running out of energy. That's why he's basically on life support. And her getting into bed was her
giving him energy through the cooch, apparently.
Yes, intimate contact.
Interesting. Because, yeah, that's the area that was lit up. So, interesting. And, of course, with her daughter, Carolina, it isn't just limited to private areas. It's her whole body, which was amazing. So, let me back up and run. If you need a little bit of review of what's happened here, is that Chase goes to see Carolina, and they're talking about what happened at the party because Chase has made a life-altering decision based on his lacrosse team not being something that he could live with long-term. So kudos on him, but coming to this realization on the way to the state championship, I'm not sure that's the right time to be coming to this realization. Again, kudos to finally coming to the realization. So then Chase goes to Carolina, and they need to talk this whole thing through. If something romantic is going to happen or not, doesn't matter. They need to talk this thing through because they're both involved. And she's like, something happened to me, and this is what happened to me, but I don't feel safe doing it by myself again. I'd like to take this bracelet off with you around. And she does. She doesn't pass out this time. She turns completely sparkly, dazzly, and translucent. It is incredible. They are both in awe and kind of scared about it. I mean, I would not. This is not normal. And they learn to deal with it. And Chase is like, "Hey, we'll figure it out, and we'll go from there." Didn't he recommend that she talk to her mom?
Yes, because Chase is also in the, I think our parents are innocent or we are just misinterpreting things. Also, you need to realize only a couple of days have passed. Gert actually goes and is stopped by these girls. It's her first meeting. And they're like, she's like, "Wait, I did this weeks ago." And they're like, "No, you did this Friday."
So this is a Monday after the Friday. So just a couple of days have passed.
Right. So it's not like Chase waited weeks and weeks to decide to get off the, lacrosse train. It was over the course of the weekend and seeing what was happening with Carolina and being victim shamed and slut shamed and such, putting the blame on her for ruining the, star lacrosse team and that whole awful thing that happens in our society. Yeah, that's one of the things you need to realize. Yes, this is episode 4, but it's basically Monday.
Okay.
Barely 4 days have passed.
Fair enough. I was referring to the fact that they had probably exhibited this behavior beforehand. And if they haven't, you're absolutely right. But if they have, Chase is just seeing it or just realizing it now, even though that they have exhibited the behavior before. But I guess you're right. They haven't, because this is a party that they don't normally get invited to. Okay, I'll run with your explanation because it fits what we've been shown so far. Gert, on the other hand, she's had an interesting time between her skipping out on her first club meeting, which was really cool. Lauren, do you want to talk about the club meeting?
I do. So in the first episode, we see her handing out these flyers to take down the patriarchy. And I'm like, yeah, girl. And the kids show up. Oh my God, I laughed. And then I felt sad because they're wearing the I'm with her shirts, but they've put Gert. And then the guy's like, "I don't feel like a crippling sadness when I wear this now." I'm just like, oh, it makes me so sad. But anyway, and then Carolina, like Gert's just like, "Oh my God, I forgot." And because, she's been busy, with the murder parents and all. And Carolina comes up and is like, "Hey, I want to talk to you." And they're like, "Back off, Blondie." And it made me just so happy that I don't have to deal with high school drama anymore, because let's face it, all these attempts to divide us by physical appearances and things that we like and don't like are ultimately BS. And just because she's conventionally attractive does not mean that she's not a person. If somebody wants to dismantle the patriarchy, I mean, come on, go ahead, whatever. Just be nice. Girls lift each other up. Come on. Like, feminism. That's what feminism means. Just lift each other up. But because these are high school kids, they have to be stratified. And it's like, it really annoys me, like people who are my age who are like, jocks, and I'm like, how old are you? When was the last time you got shoved in a locker? Come on, we're in our 30s. Come on.
Some of us are in the 30s.
Yeah, but it's artificial means of separation should not be tolerated. Thank you, Gert, for realizing this, because when your parents are trying to murder people, that's a bigger thing than artificial social separation.
And Gert goes to help Carolina try to research what's going on.
It's so sweet. And then the little R2D2 USB comes in so handy.
But then she gets thrown out by Chase, which wasn't cool. I'll admit that wasn't cool. I mean, they had stuff to talk about, but they could have included her, or at least held off until...
The conversation did need to be private, but they could have waited until her ride came to pick her up at least. I mean, come on.
I mean, she's looking at this... it's been a while since I've priced one, but probably $125,000 Corvette going, and now I have to go get a lift. Okay, this is not cool. But she then goes home, and it's a good thing she comes home, because she is able to prevent the dinosaur, who comes home because it's hungry, from eating Molly.
Oh my God, their parents are the worst liars. We see them frantically trying to figure out a plan of attack. The Yorkses are trying to figure out a plan to try to track down this dinosaur. And they're lying to their kids that, oh, there's a hedgehog on the loose. And it's like, no. So they know our parents are lying to us, first of all. And they're like, oh, they're terrible liars and out in the car. We are the best. I don't think they suspected anything. And I love the Yorkses, even though they are cool with murder. I can't help but love them. They're awful, but
they are trying to get out of everything by going to the Hernandez's ranch, whether that was actually in their will or not to give to the Yorks. They wanted to get out of there with the girls. So they're trying to get out of this.
And I think that's possibly also what the passport, the cash, and the gun was for, is the Wilders' kind of bug out plan.
I thought it was great. They're so bad at lying. It comes up again when Tina is there. And
my God.
She's just like, oh, what were you planning? And they were like, oh, really? That ranch, really? Oh yeah, we have that. Oh, no, you're moving a bunch of money. Oh yeah, we are, aren't we?
They are so bad at this. I can't help but love them, even though I know they're terrible. But yes, they come home to find their daughters with the dinosaur. And Gert is so happy to be like, oh my God, the dinosaur's listening to me. While Molly has been wrestling with this dinosaur.
Oh, that was so cool. The dinosaur Molly fight that didn't happen. I was waiting for that to happen. Molly was going to take that dinosaur on. That would have been so cool.
Yeah, it's like this little like 13-year-old against a dinosaur. And Molly would have won because superpowers. And this whole episode, Molly's like, I could be the muscle. And everyone's like, calm down, pat. Again, nobody knows yet. She's the only one who knows.
True. And they're discovering their powers as we go. We got the dazzling power. We got the strength power. We got some powers that are manifesting. And Gert, I assume this is part of her power as well. Yeah.
She has a psychic connection with the dinosaur.
And her parents are like, ooh, this is unexpected. Yeah. Well, we'll have to explore this. And the girls, meanwhile, are like, this dinosaur's here.
Yes, they're like, oh my God, dinosaur. Which, to be fair, is also my reaction. I've made no secret of the fact that since I was 7 years old, I've wanted a pack of accurately sized hunting velociraptors.
Okay, I've learned something. So I listened to the Curiosity Daily podcast, which is put on by Gonna Geek. also network member Cody Gott and his co-host Ashley, that this is their job, that they work for Curiosity. And I was listening to, I think it was a back episode from last summer, but they are discovering several dinosaurs a week now. And before 1994, it was like 15 new dinosaurs a year. And now it's like multiple ones a week that they're discovering. And I learned the reason why was because, I'm not kidding here, Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Jurassic Park has reinvigorated our science, our discovery of dinosaurs. And so we're discovering new ones all the time.
Yeah, previously, the fastest rate at which fossils had been discovered was during the Bone Wars, which, if you want a fun time, look up the Bone Wars. These two guys who used to be friends got really mad at each other and started trying to out-discover dinosaurs. HBO was going to make a movie with James Gandolfini about it, but then James Gandolfini died. So that's been put on hold. But it's such a weird historical thing. Just look up the Bone Wars. It's fascinating.
I'm going to be interested to see how this actually goes off in the future. And they get the dinosaur back into the room, and now the kids know not to open the dang door and let the dinosaur out, because that will be bad.
Let the dinosaur out. Be friends with it. Teach it tricks. It knows how to sit. She knows how to sit.
It did start to sit. So yeah, and they got it into the room somehow. So
yes. Well, Deinonychuses aren't very big.
We need to talk about Nico from a variety of different factors, but let's go back to the flashback. She found her sister in bed, and I think the parents kind of knew what was going on, especially because her mom locked down the house right afterwards and then locked Nico in her room so she couldn't talk to anybody, and then they paid off the cop and all that. So that's the inference there. But Nico found her sister dead. Wow. That would screw me up for a long time.
Yeah. It was staged to look like an overdose. It either was an overdose or was staged to look like an overdose, and I'm betting the latter, because when Nico woke up from being zapped out by her mom, she overheard them talking, and that detective was saying something about, I forget what exactly he said, but it made it sound in my mind like they were looking for entrances or exits that somebody could have come through.
Right. Nico's mom was asking Wizzy, is that the name of the AI?
Again, because they're wizards. They're such nerds. All of them. Nerds.
They were asking if there was any breaches in security, and of course Wizzy said no, there wasn't. So Nico has the diary, and the diary obviously says that Amy was just fine. She hadn't been depressed at all. And you would think that you would find this in a diary. So Nico is now thinking that there's something horribly going on with her mom and probably her dad too. And the whole thing with Amy. And that's why she wants to report the murder. And yeah, again, that would mess me up quite a bit. And now she's got to deal with it. And her mom zapped her. You mentioned that. Her mom zapped her with the wizard stick. Oh man. Bad stuff. Bad juju. Also, talking about Wizzy, the group was talking through their computers on WizTalk, which you got to go back a few years, and not everybody had access to all the chat programs that we have now. Anyway, they were using WizTalk. Question for both of you is that, do you think WizTalk is actually bugged? Knowing everything we know now, I would say that it would not be difficult for WizTalk to be bugged, but I don't know. Lauren, you think that's a step too far for the show?
I wasn't thinking it at the time, but then after the episode was over, I was definitely thinking that I would find another platform to use.
Yeah, I would. Michelle, is there anything you can or want to say on that?
Well, if you notice, Nico actually tells the AI, show me the office. And she's able to see her mom. If you can watch what's happening in another room, I wonder if Nico's like, well, geez, my house is probably completely bugged. Doesn't matter what I use. To live in that type of environment, she probably does feel like she's monitored all the time.
Yeah, we joke constantly now about the FBI agent monitoring me through the computer. She basically does have that, though.
Yeah, and worse yet, it's via an AI, which might cue in to either certain words or certain IP addresses going in and out, whatever. I mean, her mom's a genius, so I'm sure she could program Wizzy to do anything like that. So yeah, that would be, I get what Michelle is saying, though. If something's going to be bugged, it's all going to be bugged. So I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I might as well do it and see where I can get. I think that's what Michelle was saying. Michelle, did I characterize that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Living in a surveillance state.
Or a surveillance house.
Surveillance house. Yeah.
What was that show that was based in LA with the alien invasion? I want to say Colony, and that's wrong.
Which one? There's been a few.
It was on USA, I think. I think it was Colony. Yeah. So that would, the reason I'm bringing that up is that would have been playing roughly about the same time that this came out. So making connections that probably don't need to be made. Lauren, is there anything else you want to say about this episode?
No, I think that was about it. The thing I really wanted to talk about was the concept of the less dead. And yeah, I talked about that at length already. So everybody remember, just remember that is the thing that happens and don't let it happen.
Michelle, what do you got to say? Anything?
We had another development in the Frank wanting more to say about the church. He thought Leslie's having an affair, and she just plays it off. I've been meditating. I'm thinking about taking you ultra. And ultra might not be as great as it sounds. And that is all I'm going to say about that.
My first thought was, oh God, they're going to kill him.
Well, they are having a ceremony out in the middle of the desert, so yeah, that could be it. Mm-hmm. Lots of desert outside of LA, especially in the Palisades where they are. All right. That's it for Runaways 15. Next time we get together, we're going to be talking about Runaways Season 1, Episode 5, Kingdom. And that will be our last Runaways before we talk about Captain Marvel, which I'm really excited to do that.
Yes.
Meantime, we got some news to talk about.
We are first going to discuss why Nick Fury didn't page Captain Marvel sooner.
So, this is not a spoiler for the movie Captain Marvel. However, I guess it is a spoiler for the last Avengers movie.
Infinity War, I think we're beyond the spoiler terms of service there.
Yeah,
I think we're good.
So I think we're good. In an interview with Kevin Feige with Slash Films' Peter Sciretta, apologies if I mispronounced that, there was a question about, okay, how come all this stuff has happened since Captain Marvel, the events of Captain Marvel in 1995 and today, and Nick Fury didn't use the pager until Infinity War? And Kevin Feige says, well, I'd say two things. One, she does say it's got to be a real emergency, right? And Peter says, because that was just a city. I guess it's not the world. And Kevin Feige says, the other thing I'd say is, how do you know he never hit it? How do we know he never pushed it before? We've never seen him push it before. That doesn't mean he never did. To which IO9 had a little bit of commentary, and I really agree with this. I want to see the Marvel short where Nick Fury keeps paging Carol and she's busy doing something exciting at some alien world and gets pissed off and ignores it.
I could totally see that. Every time Nick's like, dang, this thing is, I know she's out there. She's awesome. Where is she? He just kept on hitting it and having to put new batteries in it. Ooh, that's a good question. So Carol might have supercharged the batteries, but then, okay, I'm not going to say anything.
Stay till the end of the credits. That's all I'm going to say.
Part of me wonders if she's like, new pager, who dis?
How did you get that meme from out there?
Oh, that would be good. That would be good.
Next up, we have Clark Gray commenting on the next season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, in an interview with KTLA, talking about Captain Marvel, because yay, Clark Gregg and Captain Marvel, so cute, such a baby. He called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7 the final installment for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He reminisced about his journey from Agent Coulson as just a one-off character in Iron Man to a staple of the MCU. And he said, "Here I am 11 years later. We just started shooting the 7th and final season of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Culver City, and it's been an incredible ride." So I think we kind of figured that. It's kind of been remarkable that we've gotten this much Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And
Wait,
yes,
he's filming it? Meaning he's in it?
Or he's directing again.
Yeah, they have that out.
I'm making a troll face. But however he's involved, in whatever capacity, I think it's remarkable that we've had this much. I think that it sounds like they're ending on their own terms, which is really all any of us have been asking for the past, I don't know how many years, since every year we're like, I don't know if we're going to get renewed, you guys. And it's just been a wild ride. Guys, we've been doing this how many years?
Yeah, quite a bit. So Michelle and I have been on the tail end of this 2 times in 1 week, because our other podcast, Starling Tribune, we found out that Arrow's next season will be its last. It won't be a full season. It will be a 10-episode season. So 2019 will be the last year for Arrow. And we'll have to talk about what that means for Starling Tribune with the Starling Tribune cast over on Starling Tribune, which you can also find at GonnaGeek.com. This is also telling us that 2020, we're guessing it's a fall release, could be a next year release, but 2020 will be the last year for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, Marvel's a little bit different because it's a connected universe and there's a lot of stuff going on. We'll see after Endgame how connected everything really is. But this is also signaling the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Also, we will have to talk with this current cast of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. to see what that really means. But it seems as though we have not finished all the Netflix series, and we're on season 1 of Runaways right now, and there's a season 2 out, not to mention Cloak and Dagger and anything else that comes our way. I think we're safe for a little while. But anyway, I am grateful that we've gotten all of this. And yes, seeing Clark Gregg, because that's not a spoiler, seeing Clark Gregg in Captain Marvel, knowing everything that goes on until today in the MCU, it was really neat. And he was there from the beginning in Iron Man.
Moving on, we have 2 articles about Black Widow.
It's a good time to be a female superhero for Marvel. We have details, first of all, on a potential villain for the movie and casting information. Well, first of all, we also found out that the movie may begin filming in June, according to a recent Production Weekly listing. And according to a new report from that hashtag show, there was a report on True Hollywood or THS. Oh, that hashtag show, sorry. That said that Marvel was looking for an actor in his 40s of any ethnicity to play the villain. And now it seems the site has received an update indicating that the studio is aiming to cast a Black, British, or African actor in the 30 to 45-year-old range to portray a tough, dangerous, and mysterious villain. So they also want a second female lead described as a female kick-ass Bond, as well as a bookish male villain in a Paul Dano vein. So no clue yet who those people might be, if they're based on any comic book characters, but we'll see. And I don't remember if we talked about last week Kevin Feige saying, no, it's not going to be an R-rated movie.
We did.
Okay, yes. Again, very little sleep. Bad memory. We also, in response to that kick-ass female Bond, may have a frontrunner for that role in Harry Potter's Emma Watson. So Hermione Granger has been in a lot of things that aren't Harry Potter in the past several years. And she seems to be the frontrunner for the role of the kick-ass female Bond type. Other frontrunners are rumored to be Alice Englert from Beautiful Creatures, Dar Zuvzowski from Hostages, and Florence Pugh from Fighting with My Family. And additionally, Andre Holland, who's in Moonlight, but also in a bunch of other stuff, and he's a fantastic actor, may be the villain of the piece, or may have auditioned for the villain of the piece. And Rachel Weisz, Sebastian Koch, and Alec Baldwin are all said to be potential choices for supporting roles. There's a link that in the Den of Geek article that we're listening to for further character breakdowns. So we'll see.
With Emma Watson, I often, because it's just goes right over my head, I did read all the books, I watched all the movies. I forget how ingrained the Harry Potter universe is for like my kids' generation, because that is their Star Wars. That is their Lord of the Rings. That is what they remember. And having Emma Watson involved in a Marvel property would be huge for them. So yay for them. For me, it's just, okay, cool. Emma Watson, I like her.
Yeah, I just like, I don't know, it's fun for me when people from big franchises cross over. Partially because I like saying stuff like, and then Bilbo and Gollum have a shootout with Black Panther at present.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point in time, the remaining cast of Harry Potter will get back together for a movie in the future, kind of like what they're doing right now with Star Wars. So I don't know if I'll be around to see it or not, but it'd be kind of cool to see it.
And our final piece of news has to deal with Morbius.
Morbius, a movie that I'm not quite sure who asked for it. I'm very sorry if Morbius is your favorite character, but it's happening, and we're actually getting a really good cast. Tyrese Gibson just joined Morbius. You might know Tyrese Gibson from all the Fast and Furious movies.
Mm-hmm.
He's in talks to join as an FBI agent trying to hunt down Morbius the living vampire. Other people in the cast, Jared Leto is playing Morbius. Again, I guess I'm on the record as not being a huge fan of that casting choice. Jared Leto being kind of a huge jerk, but he's also a good actor, so we'll see what happens. And we have the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, is going to be the villain of the piece. Loxias Crown, Morbius's best friend, who also suffers from the same blood disease Morpheus does. Adria Arjona, who was in Pacific Rim Uprising and is in something. Oh, she's going to be in Good Omens. Is going to be Morbius's love interest. Jared Harris, speaking of Harry Potter, Richard Harris's son, who is also awesome in pretty much everything he's in, including The Expanse, which, by the way, everybody watch The Expanse, will be playing Morbius's mentor. And we also have on Jared Leto's Twitter a first look at Morbius, if you can really call it that, because it's a movie clipper, the little clapperboard, and the top of Jared Leto's head. It could be a 30 Seconds to Mars video still, really, but we'll see. He says, 1 week down, 11 to go, a couple of vampire emojis. Get ready. Emoji of a flexing arm.
Cool.
I don't know. I was wrong about Venom, so maybe I'm going to be wrong about this.
I think everybody was wrong about Venom.
Venom, fantastic romantic comedy.
Maybe.
I maintain.
All right. I'm going to move on into some feedback.
We heard from people on Twitter, starting with Adonagirl.
Adonagirl gave us some really interesting feedback this week. Well, not exactly feedback, more stuff that she thought we might find interesting. The first one is a retweet from Sci-Fi Fangirls. I can't believe Thanos got to the pole dancing stone too. Have y'all seen this picture?
Yeah, it's funny.
So, because this is an audio medium, I will describe this picture. It's Thanos pole dancing. I'm not really sure how else I can describe it. It's an Infinity War little figure thing with Thanos's giant grinning face, and he's wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's pole dancing.
Which is wrapped around a pole. Yeah, I mean, you got to party. You did what you set out to do. You might as well party.
I mean, good for him. That's hard work.
Pole dancing? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I've never pole danced.
I have tried, and I gave myself a gigantic bruise.
Just a bruise, no concussion or anything?
I mean, not that time.
Lauren, we worry about you.
I tried to do a thing, where you're supposed to like grab the pole. I was at a friend's bachelorette party. And so we were trying to learn to pole dance, and I tried to like grab my leg around it, and I whacked myself in the leg and had a gigantic bruise, just purple green bruise at her wedding.
Mental note, do not take Lauren pole dancing.
We also have from Madonna Girl a retweet from JB to Dana. So we lost actor Luke Perry this week. And he, in addition to being from Beverly Hills 90210, he was also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the original movie. He was in The Fifth Element. He's on Riverdale. He was in Community. He was in Spectre Spacetime in Community. Just go and look at his IMDb. He did a lot of voice work. He did a lot of really unconventional movies. He was in Oz, the TV show. And from here's a Marvel connection. He was on the Incredible Hulk TV series, 1996 to 1997, the cartoon, as the voice of Rick Jones. So another Marvel person gone, even if you may not have known it. And by all accounts, he was an incredibly decent guy, which is something kind of rare in famous people. So Jose Molina said, the warm tributes to Luke Perry this week reminded me of how rarely in Hollywood you hear people saying nice things about famous folks until after we've lost them. So let's share some positivity. Industry friends care to share a nice celebrity story? And Adonna Girl retweeted us JB to Dana's story. He probably doesn't remember, but I did an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and at the table read, the stage directions were read aloud and said Carl Creel, better known as the Absorbing Man. I looked up like a little kid to see if anyone else was freaking out about this reveal, and nobody was looking up. Then I made eye contact with Clark Gregg, who was the only other person looking up to confirm this revelation, gave me this hell yeah look, and then went back to the reading. It was one of the coolest moments, and he's such a welcoming guy. And Clark Gregg responded with, how could we not be psyched? It was Carl Crusher Creel. So apparently, Clark Gregg is a really, really nice guy, and it makes me very happy to know that. And also, so Alamo Drafthouse does these pre-shows before the movies, and that's where I went to go see Captain Marvel. So they're doing all this 90s retro stuff because, hey, the 90s. And one of them was a commercial they showed from that approximate time period. It was an antacid commercial, no, an antifungal commercial. And the pharmacist in it looked really familiar. And it was Clark Gregg. It's a bit of a double whammy there.
Nice.
So Clark Gregg, nice guy.
And then we heard from Johnny Bacon on Discord.
Yes. In response to all of us talking about Captain Marvel and...
Spoiler free, by the way.
Yeah, spoiler free. Spoiler free talking about the movies. And in particular, the Stan Lee moments. And at the very beginning of the movie, a tribute that I was not prepared for and just started wailing in the movie theater.
No, wow.
I went from excited to wailing in a split second.
Yeah, we're going to say spoiler free, but there are multiple tributes to Stan Lee in the movie, as well as cameo. And after the first tribute, my audience was clapping and cheering for a good 2 minutes afterwards. It was awesome to be part of, and it was spontaneous. After the tribute got done, it was kind of quiet for a second, and there was some awes, and then just the whole place erupted. So that was awesome. So if you haven't seen Captain Marvel yet, you're a big Stan Lee fan, you probably should go see it, because it is awesome what happens in the movie.
Yeah. So in response to that, and particularly SP's story about the 2-minute applause break, Johnny Bacon said, go for the cameos, stay for the movie. I don't know. What do you think, SP?
I can't remember exactly what I said in response, but it's go for the movie, man. The movie, in my opinion, is my favorite of all the MCU movies. So that's cool there. The cameos are awesome. And yeah, all the cameos, by the way, because there are multiple. We'll talk about them on the 19th.
Yes. Once again, I love Marvel's insistence that space is retro. Anything involving space, retro.
It's an interesting stylistic choice, because you're not going the sci-fi future thing like Star Trek, and you're just saying this all has happened in the past.
The soundtrack is so good.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Johnny. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it. Go see it.
I wanted to bring in a news story from IO9 about the movie confirms what we all knew: ginger cats are awesome. As I have a ginger cat over my shoulder.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that on the 19th.
Well, it's not a spoiler to say that Captain Marvel has had cats in the comics. I mean, that's not a spoiler.
Chewie, and here Goose, because the 80s.
Yeah. All right. It is now time to basically hide from the dirty cop and get the heck out of here. It's been a fun watch of the Runaways so far, and it was awesome going to see Captain Marvel. If you have anything to say about both, please get it into us. Feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you to everybody who gets a hold of us, whether you're sending us stuff on Twitter, whether you're talking with us on Discord. We have a pretty active Discord community, guys. It's really fun. So come check us out, and we love to hear from you and know what's going on. It's fun. It's fantastic. Just have fun having fun.
Yes, thank you for listening and sharing your thoughts. We really appreciate it.
Until next time, I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
See everybody next week as we run down Runaways. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com, where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2013 through 2019.